Welcome to Clarity in Action. This is the show where we have real conversations that are going to challenge your perspectives and drive real action. So if you are tired of holding back and you're ready to make bold moves, this is the show for you. Join us as we are going to take you from confusion into clarity. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Clarity in Action. This is the show where we have real conversations that debunk myths, change and challenge perspectives so that we can inspire action. I am so excited to have my dear friend, Karissa Adkins, here with me today. And we are going to be diving deep and debunking some of the myths around how to achieve success. So, Karissa, so great to have you here.
Oh my gosh, Clara, I am so freaking excited to be here. We have watched each other grow, and girl, I'm like, yes, I want to be on Clarity in Action.
Absolutely. And I'm so honored, you're calling in from the UK and making time for me this early morning. So let's just dive into it. You have done so much. You have grown yourself. You have grown yourself into an amazing business. And the first thing I want to talk about is this myth that success requires hustle. And I want to just kind of get your thoughts because I know for a while you talked a lot about the hustle factor and we're kind of changing some things. So tell me what you think about this myth that success can't live without the hustle.
Oh my God. And yes, Clara, you're right. You literally watched me go through wearing my hustle as a badge of honor to now I just no longer have time for that crap. Like I am over it. I'm kind of stepping into this new direction while I've been evolving into this new, we get to build multi-seven-figure businesses with ease and not hustle. I think before I dive into like the myth, right? I think it's important to probably talk about the myths themselves. And I think it's important to understand where these myths come from, right?
Yeah.
These beliefs didn't just appear out of nowhere. They were literally shaped by society and culture and family and dynamics. And we've watched, right, women lead or not lead growing up as little girls, right? We've kind of learned these beliefs and these myths as truths and behaviors. And so here's just the shift, right? Like I truly believe that once a woman creates awareness around her belief system, she really starts to question, everything that she has been taught to believe and has been taught to value, and instead start to shift that conversation within her own mindset. So therefore these myths all of a sudden become like, oh, of course that's a myth. These myths, you guys, these beliefs, they all stem from our childhood conditioning. They are deeply seated and planted into our subconscious mind. And for decades, we've been taught that success meant sacrifice and that leadership required self-abandonment, or that being powerful meant being hard, or that we had to hustle our way through. So I think the biggest misconception that success has to cost us something, whether it's our health, our peace, our relationships, or our joy. The old belief, that I used to believe is that if you're not exhausted, you're just not doing it right. You must not be doing enough, right? I mean, and so many women, I think especially, have been praised for how much they've carried and not how well they've led. So the new belief that I've shed the old belief that like, if I want to rise up to the top, then something's going to have to give. And the new belief that I've kind of, that I really ultimately stand for now is that real power comes from embodied leadership, not burnout. It's really hard to build impact, to build wealth and influence without, you can't build impact is what I should say. You can't build impact and wealth and influence without self-abandonment. And I fight for women to stop proving their worth through overworking and start leading through alignment and just discernment and self-trust now.
Yeah. And I think, you brought up a really good point of where did these myths come from? And I think, especially for women in business, I think that idea of the hustle really came about in probably the 80s. Women were fighting for that seat at the table. And the only way to do it is they had to work harder. They had to do these things. That was just the necessity. But as you stated, that's no longer the way. And you use the word, which I think is perfect. There is now a shift. So I really want to go into, coming out of that shift. I think the old narrative around hustle was also that we have to be out for ourselves, that if we want to do it, we've got to cut ties with everyone else. We've got to be cutthroat. We've got to be, just go in and just at all costs.
Yeah.
How is that shifting too? And are you seeing that instead of being out for ourselves, it's a more collaborative environment now?
I'm still seeing a mix of both. I mean, these are hardcore wired beliefs in so many of us as women, right? We saw it happen in the 80s, but we grew up with it. Like, it's programming, and our programming is happening at the subconscious level. So yes, to answer that is I'm seeing both. I am seeing the shift in women leadership now that are saying, hey, let's come together, let's rise together. But ultimately, I believe that this belief comes from time when women had to compete just to survive in leadership spaces. I mean, the old belief or the old myth says, if I help another woman, I'll lose my edge, or there's only room at the top for one of us. Yep. And the new belief that I'm really, helping women program is that true power multiplies when we rise together, right? We don't shrink. And if we thought about, like, if we were all in a room and it was a dark room, blackout, right? If I lit up a candle, I alone can only light a little bit. But all of a sudden, if you put 100 women in a room and we're all lighting our candles up at once, that whole damn room will be lit up. And that is truly how I believe that we can rise together. And when we look back, I mean, think about how men get shit done, right? Like, if we can be real, right? Men sit around the table, they smoke cigars, they drink scotch, and they sit and they brainstorm and they mastermind with each other. And this is how it's been done ever since, early days. I'm not going to go back,
we
right?
Go to the golf course or out to those power lunches. That's how it was done.
Yes, they're like, how can we help each other get to millions of dollars? And yet over women are like, I don't want to help you because you could be taking my seat at the table. And I just don't like that scarcity mindset. And I drew a line in the sand, and I think it was 2023, that I was no longer available to play in that space. If women are trying to compete, I don't even want to be a part of that, because that's affecting my frequency, my energetic frequency, which then ultimately affects my life, my health, my business, my bank account. So ladies, we got to let go of that narrative that there's only room for one at the top. Shit. Create the table and invite everyone you want to come play with you.
Yeah, I think you and I really got to see that firsthand, because we were both a part of a book that came out in 2020 called Women Who Boss Up. And that was one of the, at least to my knowledge, one of sort of those first collaborative type books. And there was so much power in all of us women coming together and sharing, our thoughts and really bringing this to the forefront. And I think it's been such a beautiful message, and I look forward to it continuing. You've brought up a lot about this concept of leadership and how leadership is now different and how we have to, again, lead ourselves better. Talk about this struggle that we've had with leadership and how it's a strategy, but it's also kind of different how we lead ourselves through this. It's not just strategy, it's more than that.
Yeah, I think we need both, right? If you're an entrepreneurial type woman, or if you're a woman in some sort of a leadership position in corporate, the old myth or the old belief used to be like strategy only. But I'm really tapping into working with women on this sovereign sense of leadership, right? Like, when a woman is sovereign, she makes decisions differently. She leads her life differently. And so I'm really loving the conversation. It's like a new paradigm in leadership, if you will. And I am now, my entire work is focused not just on business strategy. That's the easy thing. I can give a woman a social media plan. I can give a woman a sales plan from start to finish. I can literally give her a roadmap to success. Literally, that's what I used to do and spent many, many years doing. I was like, here you go, right? Just go do A through Z and you'll fucking make $1 million. But at the end of the day, what I was realizing is that the woman behind the brand is more important. Mm-hmm. If a woman cannot lead herself, how is she supposed to lead the movement that she has been meant to do, right? That she's been called to do. If you can't get yourself up and go to the gym, there's a problem. If you can't lead your team and, create culture, there's a problem. You've got to, leadership starts with you. It's always started with you. And so I believe that leadership and becoming the best version of you in every area of your life and every day, and guys, I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about striving to be the best version of you. Not every day I have is perfect. Lord knows. However, every day I wake up and say, how can I be the best version of me? How can I be the best wife that I can be today? How can I be the best leader for my team, coach, mentor, whatever? And I just strive to be a better version of me every day. And that has created ripples of that. I mean, I lead movements in front of 20 or 30,000 people speaking on stages. So it's incredible when a woman finally stops abandoning herself and starts leading herself from within.
Absolutely. And we know that that road and that journey through leadership is not always, pretty. And there's always moments where we get stuck. And this is something that you've been so great at doing because you understand that every woman is different. And again, learning how to tap into these strengths. So, what are some of the biggest reasons why we get stuck? And this is for men too.
Yeah, I find that this across the board, men and women. And that's actually a really great question. I think the biggest thing that keeps women stuck, and I'll just speak to women, is fear, self-doubt, lack of self-trust. Right? So many women are making fear-based, people-pleasing decisions. They're making decisions or not making a decision, but either way is a decision. But they're making decisions based on what other people will think of them, validation, approval, or fear. And that, I think, really keeps women playing small, right? I've seen women want to, say yes to a major keynote speaking engagement, but they're like, oh no, you don't know enough. You're not polished enough. You're not perfect enough. I've seen women who want to start a business, but yet that little self-doubt that's like, no, you have to have money to start a business, or who do you think you are to start a business? Mm-hmm. I've even went through my own, trust me, when I had my first $176,000 week in my coaching business, I was like, oh my God, the pressure. Can I keep up? I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at on that journey from $1,000 a month to, $1 million a month. It doesn't matter. Self-doubt and fear will always get in your way if you don't learn how to reframe it and you don't learn to start, trusting yourself. I think that that's really where it comes from.
Yeah. Clarity in Action is proudly sponsored by Telehealth for Her, where women's health finally gets the attention it deserves. At Telehealth for Her, they offer professional, comprehensive medical care designed to optimize your hormones, restore your gut health, and boost your energy. Because let's get real. Who doesn't need more energy? Your body is the foundation of everything you build. So let's make sure we are fine-tuning it for optimal performance. So if you've been out there crushing it in life, but still feeling a little bit off with some of that brain fog, hormone changes, sleepless nights, or emotions that are all over the place, I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. Telehealth for Her helps ambitious women just like you take back control and feel like yourself again so that you can keep leading with purpose and power. Check them out at mariahprinceallen.com or Telehealth for Her and start your journey back to a vibrant, unstoppable you. Clarity in Action is proudly sponsored by My Cluck Hut. Yes, the soap company that is the one your mother should have warned you about. Now, don't let the name fool you. This eco-friendly soap company will get you clean without feeling dirty. But you know what? My Cluck Hut is about more than just getting clean. They have built and continue to grow a community that gives a cluck about the planet, about people, and about creating a reality where diversity and sustainability are not a pipe dream, but fundamental core values. So when you shop with My Cluck Hut, you're not just buying soap. You're choosing to be a part of something bigger than any one of us can be alone. So if you believe in shopping with purpose and from a brand that isn't afraid to speak truth to power, then go check them out, mycluckhut.com. The 2025 Tennessee Pride Chamber Allied Business of the Year. My Cluck Hut, it's more than a soap company. It's a clucking revolution. One of the things that I've used, and I would love to get your take on this too, is when it comes to, again, business and business decisions, this is where I always go to, again, the vision and the goal of the business. It's not always about me. Is this a healthy decision for my business? And that allows me to kind of look at things differently. And in some weird way, it takes the fear off because it's not about me personally. It's about the business.
Yes. I'm creating these philosophies around what I'm calling the 10 universal laws of iconic leadership. And I'm going to write a whole solo book about this year. It's been now my core curriculum. It truly helps a woman, to become the version of her that she needs to become in order to run this business. But what I want to get back to is my very first law, the universal law. Law number one is called the aligned decision, because if a woman can't make a decision, she's stuck, right? She feels very trapped. And so within this law, I teach a sovereign tool, right? Because I don't just want to talk about the law and what, why women need to embody it and embrace it and learn it. But I teach them the tool behind how to actually implement it. And the tool is what I call the aligned decision matrix. And it actually involves 3 points of intelligence. It's your head, your heart, and your body. And I'll quickly explain them because I think it's brilliant. I think every woman needs to know how to make a good decision, not just for herself and not just for her business, but from a place of like alignment, right? And just clarity. So the first piece is the head, right? That's the logical piece. This is where you actually need to take the emotion out of it. I like to get a piece of paper and a pen out and do it the good old fashioned way, right? Pros and cons. If I said yes to this, what are the pros? What are the cons? Black, white, it's pure, a lot of more just ROI, right? Especially in business. But then I check in with my heart. And really, this is the easiest one because I put the pen down, I close my eyes, I envision who I desire to be. And I say, Karissa, if you said yes to this decision, would it make you happy? So I think a lot of women are forgetting that they need to make themselves happy. We cannot we can't leave our happiness up to everybody else to give it to us, right? We have to be happy within ourselves. And sometimes the logical says, yeah. And then the heart is like, no, this really wouldn't, or vice versa, right? So I think it's important to check in with both the head and the heart. But the third piece of intelligence is our body. And I think that our body holds so much wisdom. It also stores a lot of emotions. And when we think about decisions, fear is one of the biggest things, the driving factor that drives women to either make a decision or not. Right? What will my family say? Like all of the things, but what I have learned how to do is reframe fear. So literally any time that I feel fear, I mean, when we think about it, right? Fear and excitement are kind of the same thing. Your armpits start sweating, your heart starts racing. You're like, I don't know if I should do this. You start questioning your entire life. So the minute that my pits get sweaty, Clara, and like my heart starts racing, that's like, okay, God, that's the green light that says go. So whether I'm ready or not, I choose to take courageous action. It does not matter if the heart or the head, what it says. I literally get into full alignment with all 3 pieces, but I just literally walk through fear. And it's not always easy. And it takes a lot of self-trust again, and faith, but you have to make a decision. And the longer you sit on the sidelines of like, oh, what do I do? You're just wasting so much time, energy, and resources.
So true. Now, one of the things that you've said, and I really love this, is that you say if we really want to rise and become that truest, best version of ourselves, it is a marriage. It is bringing the unity of purpose and power together. Talk more about that.
Purpose. And I'm like, I don't do anything unless it's purposeful and intentional. And there's some sort of like truly why behind it. Rising today, I think, looks very different than it did before. Back when we were rising in our very first collaborative book together, versus, how I'm helping women rise up together. I think it's very, very different from just 5 years ago. I can't even imagine what it was, 20 years ago. But an old belief is that power meant dominance and control and proving yourself in a male mode leadership, right? Like in a male dominated industry, that's what that meant, right? Control. And I've got to be powerful and I got to like fluff up my peacock feathers so that people believe me. And a new belief or a new belief that I want women to start embodying is that power comes from sovereignty. And rising means that you're rooted in who you are intentionally with how you lead and courageous in your decisions and committed to building something bigger than yourself. So what I fight for is for women who don't just achieve success, but create legacies. Like I no longer work with women who aren't thinking bigger, right? I'm talking movement leaders. The leader of movement leaders is really fun because it lights my soul on fire and I get to be a part of major ripple changes this way. It's so much fun.
That's so cool. So let's kind of I want you to tell us, I know you have so many things. You mentioned your book that you're working on. Can't wait to see that come together and we'll get you back on the show to share more then. But what else are you working on right now?
Oof. Okay. Well, I'm launching a mastermind program called Iconic Leadership. I'm not going to go into that because I really want to focus in on this particular event that I am hosting. It is actually called Rise, and it's not just an event. It's an invitation. It's an invitation for women to step out of who she's been conditioned to be and believe and help her step into the leader she's meant to become. So this is not a retreat. This is not, a conference where women come and take some notes and like feel inspired and then, go home and like do nothing with all those notes. This is an activation. It's a full body activation. We have 9 keynote speakers. They're all best-selling authors. They'll be sharing their stories, powerful stories and wisdom and learnings. And then I'm coming on multiple times throughout the day, teaching women how to truly activate that inner awesomeness within and step into a new identity, because that was the biggest thing that took me from $250,000 to $1 million, was shifting my identity and who I be, stepping into my leadership and not being afraid to go after my big ass dreams. So Rise is happening on March 19th. At the Beardmore Event Center in Omaha, Nebraska. VIP tickets, regular tickets, but either way, we're on early bird right now. You can get a really great deal and be a part of that experience. Come and meet the authors of the Alpha Queen Rising book. There's a ton of us, and it's all just featuring their courageous moments. I mean, this is more than words, right? This is courage in action. But this event supports these women because they have so much wisdom and knowledge, and it just really represents the way I want to do leadership now.
Beautiful. And we'll put all the information on how to register, how to get all that stuff in the show notes. So all of you take a look at that. Again, what a powerhouse that's going to be. I love that word, when you said it's about activation. And I think that's what we need right now. We have the thoughts, we have all these dreams. Let's turn it and let's start activating. Yes. So, Chris, it's always so much fun talking to you. And I always just feel this energy, it's so powerful, the energy that you bring. I have one final question for you today. And that is, sitting where you sit today, learning all these lessons, how do you define success for yourself today?
Amazing question. How do I define success? I think it means standing in my power, believing in what I believe in, and not giving a shit about what other people think of me or say about me, being my authentic, person and woman. But ultimately, when I think of success, I'm like, I can honestly tell you, literally by looking at my calendar, that I feel successful in every area of my life, right? I'm in the best shape of my life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. I'm in the best shape in my life when it comes to my relationship. It's stronger than ever. We're building, empires together now. I'm leading women across, on local to global tours. So I feel like passion and fulfillment and just so much pride when it comes to my coaching business. And more importantly, I feel so successful because my ladies are rising. I mean, come on, like to watch them stand in their power is the real return on impact here. So I truly believe that we as women can have it all without sacrifice and without burnout and without freaking apologizing. And I can back it up. It can happen, ladies. I know what it's like to have nothing, and I know what it's like to have all that amount of success, and it is totally possible.
Love it. Well, it's been such a joy talking with you, reconnecting, watching your journey, truly inspiring. Karissa, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Clara.
What a powerful episode. We're coming out of an age where you really can change the game. You can be more in control of how you are showing up, and you get to write your own script. So again, you don't have to burn the candle at both ends. Things are different. So allow yourself the space. I love when she talked about getting in alignment with your head, your heart, your gut, all of those things. And, really just looking at the fact that you don't need to be living in that hustle culture, and leadership, it starts with ourselves. So thanks for being here. Please make sure to like, follow, subscribe so we can keep this show going on a global level. And this one has so many tips. Please go ahead and share it with others. Thanks for being here. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Clarity in Action.